Hello everyone, I am Punya Agarwal, ACC affiliate and one of the admins of Being ACCA, and in this video I will be explaining everything about audit paper, which is your AA paper, F8 paper in ACCA, audit and assurance paper. So there are few myths which I want to burst regarding ACCA audit paper and some of the strategies which I want to personally suggest to all the students who are giving or planning to give AA paper in the near future. I hope this video helps you when you are starting your preparation or when you are in middle of your preparation of audit paper. So let's begin from the very scratch. Now there are many students who are scared of this paper due to many reasons. They're afraid of this paper, firstly because of the pass rates, secondly because of the structure, and thirdly because they have listened the hype about AA paper, and they have the paper is very hyped in the market. So first of all, let's discuss about the pass rates which are there for AA in specific to ACCA. So now if you see, yes, I agree that the pass percentage are is between 33 to 35% in total in average over the last few quarters, and which is very less than the other papers. If you see PM or not PM, FM or FR or tax, all of these papers have quite more percentage of pass students, which is approximately 45 to 50%. Or it has slightly lesser pass percentage, and due to which students are very scared that, oh my god, the pass percentage is really less, how are we going to do, it is a very difficult paper. Due to this the paper is getting very hyped that it is a very difficult paper, whereas the situation is not really that tough. So now, because again of its structure, why? Because it is only 30% is MCQs and 70% is your written paper. Now if you see other skill level papers, majority of them are 70 or 60% MCQs, and only 30 to 40% is your written or the practical, and in which you have to actually solve the questions. So this is little different in audit paper, that you have you have only 30% as MCQs, and you have a lot of written portion in audit. Due to these reasons, students are very scared of audit paper. But mind you, these are very little things which you have to be worried about. Your major focus should be on your understanding part, understanding of the concepts part, plus the practice part. Right. Now, firstly, let's talk about what is audit so that we get a base of it and then we can move ahead. So, audit in general, I'm not talking about only about ACCA, I'm talking in general about audit. Now audit is basically scrutinizing your financial statements, the financial statements that a firm makes. It can be balance sheet, it is of your P&L account, all of these in combine your financial statements, scrutinizing and seeing if there is any fraud which is done by the company, or are there any errors in the financial statement. So for example, there is a firm, right? The owners are there, are they are shareholders of this firm. Now the firm makes the financial statements, and that financial statement, for example, if they are denoting that there is a profit of dollar 1,000 million, right, that it is in a profit situation, there can be a scenario where the company is not in a positive figures, but is incurring losses, heavy losses. For example, the same amount is a loss, so that is a fraud they're incurring. They're telling their shareholders, yes, we're in profit, please invest, come and invest in our company. But actually that company is committing a big fraud by telling lies. So that is when auditor, or I'm so sorry, that is when the auditor or audit comes into place, wherein the audit scrutinizes the financial statements and sees where the company is actually lagging, or where the company is actually making a fraudulent fraudulent statement in terms of its financial statements. So now there can also be a scenario because it is a very large company, and there can be errors also, like genuine errors which they can make, which they might not be completely aware of, due to which the company can face legal action. So that is when again the auditor comes into place and says that, oh, this is the error that you have made in the financial statements, please correct it simply. So if the company corrects it, it was an error. But if the company says no, we don't want to correct it, that's like a fraud which they're incurring, right? So that is when the auditor comes into place and tells the legal board of the company, the legal board of the company, the shareholders, public, or the authorities that, listen, this company is making this much of fraud and you have to see it. And that is when the legal action takes place, right? So this was audit. Now let's talk about in layman terms. If you are somebody who does not know what audit is generally as well, so I'll tell you in very layman language. For example, there's a teacher, right? Now the teacher gives you exam, right? Yeah, there are certain questions, question number 2, question number 3. Now you are the student and you attempt these questions, you make your answer script, right? And you give back to the tutor. So now if you see, the teacher is actually checking two things. Firstly, have you cheated in the paper, or have you made any mistakes in the paper, right? So now consider this teacher as an auditor and this student as your firm, the answer script as your financial statement, right? So now the firm is giving you the financial statements to check if you have cheated. That means if you have done any types of frauds, or you made genuine mistakes, which were the errors, right? So the teacher checks your answers and tells you, oh, you have cheated this from this person, or you have made this type of a mistake. Similarly is the work of an auditor. The auditor will tell you that this is the mistake that you have done, you have to correct it. If you are not correcting it, I will be telling it to the principal or your parents. So similarly, the auditor will tell it to the authorities, or will tell it to the shareholders or the general public, right? So similar is the scenario. I hope that by this layman language term you understood what audit is all about. So I just wanted to give you like a brief about what audit is all about. Now let's discuss some of the mistakes and strategies, that how can you score good marks in audit and not fail in the paper. Now in ACC in general, it is very important to see the sequence. We always suggest to students to go with F8 paper after F7, which is your financial reporting paper. Why? What is the reason behind it? What is the agenda behind it? Is that F7 paper teaches you all of the IFRSs, the IAS, majorly the standards, right? So, and in audit, you have to apply these standards into your answers, because these are the same things which the company can go wrong with. For example, there is a firm known as ABC, and they have applied IS 16, but that IS, the application is wrong. So until and unless you know what is the correct application of IS 16, the IFRS, how would you tell that this is this is something which is being done wrongly by the company, or this is a mistake which they have done in this accounting standard and this is the correct treatment, right? So this you will be only be able to get after you know what the standards are. That is the reason that we tell students that always either combine F7 FR and AA, or give AA after FR. So sequence in ACC is very, very important. This is one of the mistakes that students do, that they either take it as the first skill level paper, or they take it way after your FR paper or before FR, and then they struggle understanding the IFRSs. So always revise your IFRSs or the standards before you actually sit on and start with your audit paper, which is very important. And I think you will be able to grasp the concepts of audit better if you revise those concepts earlier only, right? So one of the tips is this. Second tip is Revising the standards is again very important. Now, the written practice. Very, very, very important. If you are a self-study student, or when if you are a self-study student, or if you are taking classes from somewhere, doesn't matter. Your According to me, your sequence of understanding the concepts, and your sequence of audit paper in general should be: when you understand the concepts, you do the simultaneous practice of that particular concept, and then you revise it. Right? For example, let's take an example. So in audit, basically you have majorly four important topics which usually come in your section C, and of course in your section B, and usually can come also in section A. So firstly is your audit risk. Second is your controls, which is your control deficiencies, your control direct controls, all of these things. Then that can be substantive procedures, and then it is audit report. Right? So when, for example, I took the first topic, which is audit risk, now I understood the concept, but now I am not doing any practice of it, and straight away moving to the next part, then straight away moving to the next topic, then straight away moving to the next topic. By the time I reach here, I'll be forgetting all of these topics. Now I have seen so many students telling me the same thing, that ma'am, I am, I am at this particular topic, and but I am, forgetting the past topics. Like I have forgotten what audit risk was, I have forgotten how to write the answers for controls. What is the reason behind this? This is the same reason, that you're not practicing. So I always tell students, then for example, if you have started your preparation of audit from January 1, when you have done at least 3 to 4 chapters, do at least 2 questions per day. And these are not MCQs, these are written questions, your section B questions, which are longer formatted questions. At least do 2 questions. It will not take you more than 1 hour to do these questions, and you'll be in a very good position by the time that you reach Feb, and you're done with all of these topics, and you'll be like, okay, I know audit risk, I have to revise, but I remember how to write the answers, because you've already done approximately 10 to 12 questions previously. Right? So that is the reason that I always suggest students do always simultaneous practice of all the topics that you are doing, so that you understand them better. Another thing, which is I think the most important thing in audit, which is the biggest blunder that students make, is rote learn. Rote learning is a strict no. It is a strict no. You do not have to rote learn in audit, because there are students who come to me and say that, ma'am, I know it is a theoretical paper, I'll learn it. So they learn it either from the, the notes that the tutor has provided, or the notes that they make, or maybe the answers that are there at the back of your exam kits, which is a very, very bad practice, and you should not do it for two reasons. Firstly, your result can come nullified in this case. Why nullified in this case? Because, for example, you and your friend, you are friend one, and there's a friend two. You took the classes from the same tutor, and of course, the same tutor provided you common notes. And what you both did was, you both learned the answers from here, and straight away went to the exam and wrote the same answers. And you, mind you, you gave the exam from the center, and this person gave the exam from, remotely, right? And then also both of you got result as nullified, and while contacting ACC, they said that you have cheated in the exam. Now you would be thinking, oh, I gave my exam in the center, but this person gave exam remotely. How can we cheat? We cannot, right? So because you wrote learn your answers from here, and you straight away went to the exam and wrote the same answers, that is the reason that the examiner will think, oh my God, how can the answers can be exactly the same in a paper which is descriptive, which is a paper which is practical and not at all theoretical paper, right? Another reason why you should not You should not rote learn. I'm talking about rote learning over here. Why you should not rote learn is because the audit paper, the ACCAs, all the ACCAs papers are not theoretical papers. Every paper teaches you practicality. So in audit as well, it is important that you do not rote learn. Why? Because for example, there is a person, for example, again we take two friends, friend number one and friend number two, right? We talk about audit risk at the moment, right? Now, again, I'll tell you one thing is that audit paper can be predictive paper in form of its questions that comes, because obviously the questions will be repeated. Like they will ask you same question that write the aid audit risk in the from the question. They'll ask you write the control deficiencies from the questions, write the tell what the auditor's report or auditor's opinion will be, or write the substantive procedures. Now substantive procedures can also be the same which you have already done many a times, but the case study will be completely different from what you have done. So if I write the same answer, for example, I did a case study and in which there were, for example, detection risk, and there was a risk related to IS 16. So I am friend number one. I saw that in the case study also they have talked somewhere about IS 16, but I'm not sure. But I thought that, oh, I have learned it. Let's write it. And I have also learned about detection risk. I go on to the exam and I write it. I write completely same thing from the whatever I have learned earlier. But now the case study is different. Of course, the case study will ask you different aspects. Maybe the case study is not touching upon IS 16, but once you the risk, they have talked about IS 16, but the risk is in IS 38. So here you had to write about IS 38, but you learned IS 16. So you will go to the exam, you'll write this, and then when your result comes, you got a 40. And you think, oh my god, I learned so much things, I did so much of struggle learning these things, and still I got a 40. Oh my god, it is such a difficult paper. No, my friend, you made a mistake that you actually learned the answers which were not supposed to be learned. Now, there's a friend too who did not learn the answers, who understood the topic, your topic well, who understood the concept well, who understood the case study well, who understood the question well, and then framed his or her answer. Now he knew that in the practice that the person has done, there they talked about IS 16, but in this question, the risk lies in IS 38. So now the person will write according to the case study. So linkage to the case study is very, very important. Your link should be there to the case study, because of course if the question, for example, they are giving you a 10 marker question and they are giving you such lengthy case study, are they fooled that they are giving you such a lengthy case study if they only want you to write the thing that you have already learned? They won't give you a case study, they simply write the question, then you have to write the rote learned thing. They are giving you the case study because they want to test your industry knowledge, that have you understood the concept well or not, right? So this is a major mistake that many students do about the rote learning part, which is a very, very big mistake. And the only strategy that I tell the students to avoid this is, firstly, for example, you got a question number one about the audit risk, right? Step number one, read question. And if the question is asking you, there are two aspects to the question, so just highlight part 1, question number 2. So just highlight it, part 1, part 2, so that you remember, oh okay, so this is a part 1 I have to write, this is the part 2 I have to write. So I'll be clear in my head that this question has two parts. Step number 2, start reading the case study. When you start reading the case study, by when you're reading the case study, you will be getting few pointers that, okay, this is a risk, this is a risk, okay, this can come in as a substantive procedure, this is a risk, this is a risk, this is a risk, right? So just keep on, just a minute, sorry, yeah, just keep on highlighting, this is a risk, this is a risk, this is a risk. So you get an option in the your platform that you can highlight this area. So just highlight this area so that when you are writing your answer, so one technique is when you just highlight. So when you go to your answer writing part, when you're done with the reading of the case study, you're able to see, okay, you don't have to read the full case study again. You just read these highlighted portions and you write your answer, right? Another or what you can do is you can open up your question here, like this is the same format that we have in the your screens as well. The question is here, for example, there is an audit risk number one. You copy the statement from here, you dump it over here. So dumping technique is also very helpful sometimes. So it depends. You can do trial and error in when you're practicing. So obviously when you practice, then you'll be able to understand what is working for you. Then you got another audit risk, you dump it here. You copy paste. So copy and pasting, you just have to do copy and pasting. Right now, what happens is when you have read the full case study, you don't have to look at the case study again. You can just go to your answer, see all the dumping. Now there's a draft ready. You have made a draft answer for yourself, right? Now you can frame the answer from this drafted answer, right? So this is what I tell my students, that you can follow any of these techniques what works for you. You can highlight and then just look at these highlight proportions, or you can dump and make a draft and then do the writing of the answers. So always remember, linking to the case study is very very important. Rote learning is a big no. Revising the IFRSs is a big yes. And what else did we discuss? We did discuss about the predictivity and all of these things, right? uh, do not leave any topic in audit. I have seen, because see, it can be a little monotonous because you do not have anything practical, you do not have a lot of MCQs, right? So it can be monotonous and you'll be like, okay, I'll leave this topic, this is not important. Everything in audit is important. Everything, every little topic is important in audit. And that is the reason that I think that students fail, is because of these reasons which I have just discussed. And you do not have to be very scared of the paper. If you are in a right direction, if you follow these steps, I think you'll be very good to go with the paper and you will actually enjoy the paper like I did. Like I was also somebody who did not enjoy theory written, like if like it is a purely theoretical paper, does not have any numericals. I mean, I also was like, okay, let's leave it. I'm not able to do it. But then when I started audit and when I started seeing that it is actually a very good practical based paper, then I started enjoying it. So these were some of the steps, topics I wanted to discuss about audit, and some of the myths that I think that many students are scared of audit. If you have any more doubts or if you have any more specific questions, you can DM us. Also, we will be having our test series for AA students in February for March attempt. You can register for that. We'll release the details very soon. And I hope this video was helpful for you. Do leave a comment down below if this was helpful for you. If you have any more questions, you can DM us or you can message us. You can comment down below and I'll be happy to help you. So see you in the next one.